Afro Fish OG.
What is good, everyone? Happy Saturday. It is March 14th. And for everybody out there who are listening to this, I'm going to say right off the bat, I hope your day is going swell, unless you're in the Midwest, because holy fuck on a stick, it is going to be real bad if you are up north, if you are Midwest right now. I mean, unless you're in Illinois. I don't know. I don't like that state. But anyways, I'm here. I'm chilling. I'm chilling with all the way from the other social media land, gamer, activist, and just overall just awesome fucking person. TransxBombshell. How's it going?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing today? Happy Saturday. Thanks for the last second schedule adjustment. I think we had planned to do this tomorrow, but
yeah,
I have an action that I want to cover IRL. I'm going to stream from, so thank you for the audible.
Oh yeah, no problem. I looked into it. I was like, when you were like, it's today, and I'm like, no, it's tomorrow. And I look and I'm like, shit. I put Sunday the 14th, and I'm like, oh shit, that's wrong. Just like, yeah. I've done that before. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't have dyslexia, but for every once in a while, it kind of pops.
There's a number one. It's called ataxia or something. It's a dyslexia of the numbers.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even heard.
Doesn't that scare you to know that exists?
A little bit, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit. I don't know. Every time I start, like, I hear some of those, like, other, whether it's like a mental condition or something like that, and there's always that little part of me that sits there, and I'm like,
is that me?
Yeah. Do I have that? Is that? I don't think that's me. I think I'm good, right? I think I'm good. Like, what's it called?
Dyscalculia.
I don't even know where you even get that from. Like, you just
it's like hereditary. Like, your brain just can't do numbers. They they change.
That's fair. Well, like, I know
I might have it, honestly.
I hope I don't. But I want to say, for those who aren't aware of who you are and what you're all about, the floor is yours.
I'm TransxBombshell. I am a recently new full-time content creator. I've spent the last 4 years in the space over on the Purple app mostly. I do hang out here on the Clock app a bit. What I'm known for mostly is gaming. I'm a sponsored gaming creator, sponsored by Zinni, which is a wonderful glasses company. I'm also sponsored by Razer, which most people know is keyboard and mouse, but they also make cameras. I'm a really big fan of their cameras. And I'm also sponsored by NordVPN. So
no fucking way.
Yeah, so if you need a VPN, go to my website, TransxBombshell.com. You can actually get a really good discount on their service. And I think at one point they were even given like a free Amazon gift card. I think that might be over. I think that was for the holidays. But yeah, those are my three sponsors. I'm very grateful to have sponsors that allow me the flexibility to make the kind of content that I do. I don't think a lot of sponsors would be okay with a lot of the content that I do. But I do keep it very clear that, like, I'm sponsored for gaming. I do a lot in the activist space. That's not what they're sponsoring. And I think because I communicate it so clearly is why nobody's dropped me yet.
And I don't think, and that's true. Like, the fact that you let them know exactly what you're about right off the bat, so they don't get into like halfway through your streams like, yo, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, no, I'm very clear. Like, when I approach them, it's like, I am an activist. I am trying to, as a trans content creator, push the envelope, like, make sure people get exposure to just trans people. A big push as to why I got into the content creator space as more of an influencer versus just making like digital art, because I was kind of a meme account. Like, how I built my following was initially dropping 10 slide anti-capitalist socialist memes on Instagram. And I would get 500,000 views in a month. And there's just so much traffic that I was like, I could make other things. Like, what else can I do with this? Like, let me explore this sort of momentum. And I was like, well, I always wanted to stream. Like, I wanted to game. And one of the hardest parts of getting people in your stream is like just getting your first few diehards. Like, honestly, like that is one of the hardest things as a streamer, is just finding your first few diehards. Because I'm gonna be honest, as a content creator, I had visions and dreams of blowing up and having that 100 viewer chat. Everybody wants to have like 10,000 people in chat where you can't even read, chat's going so fast. I don't think I want that anymore. I mean, if I could have my 5 to 10 diehards in chat where we all know each other and we're vibing and we can actually keep up with a conversation amongst each other, and I've got my sponsors, you know, making it possible where I can make a living and pay my bills, and I've got my clips that are coming from having my diehard community, just bringing us more people that are of that vibe, that's enough for me. Like, I don't have to blow up. I've now discovered that like there is a really cool niche spot of content creator that you can aspire to, where you can make a living and you can make an impact, and that's okay. Like, that is fine. I don't have to be Mr. Beast.
No, and I don't think I'd want to be, but like, you know, it's that's so cool though, because I think for a lot of people, you know, the goal is to try to hit that you know, like the Mr. Beast level, Kai
Shoot for
Cenat.
the stars.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, like I watched them, and it is a lot. That's a lot, and I think also, like you mentioned, I love the fact that you mentioned just having that, just a few dedicated people. Like I look at like just for myself, I look at my TikTok, and like I had 14 people in there today, last night, and all the people in there are like people that I go and I talk to. They stop back every time, and that's a good feeling in and of its own self.
It's so cool.
It is, like, to be like, damn, I actually make it, like I make somewhat of an impact here, even if it's on like 14 people's lives. They show up every time, and that is a great feeling. Like nobody.
And one of my favorite things to point out, and I don't mean to interrupt you,
No, you're good.
just reminded me, like, one of my favorite things to point out is people love to talk crap about the single digit content creators, or even if somebody just has like 20 viewers. But like, what I ask those people who are like in the comments actively hating is, when is the last time you had a group of 10 to 20 people sitting in a room watching you play video games or just watching you chat? Because you don't, and you haven't. And I promise that it's a lot harder than you think. And just having 5 people sitting in a room watching you game would be amazing, because that's actually really hard to do. And anybody that actually gets to the point where you actually have chatters, like even if you don't have chatters for the entire stream, if you have people that stop by to check up on you and chat, you're on your way. And you just have to keep going and make sure you're making good enough content that they want to stay and hang out. And that is the goal. I don't think a lot of people are shooting for that like chat that's going so fast that everyone's blah. It's like, you really just need a few.
Especially with ADHD, my eyes will be like this the entire time looking at the chat. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to do anything.
You just need a few people that you vibe with, and that's the beginning. Like that, like shoot for that, and if anything happens after that, it's honestly bonus territory. I don't want everyone to try to become a content creator. I really don't think everyone should try to become a content creator. We need carpenters, we need plumbers, we need electricians. But if you want to have an outlet and you want to make content and it is something that you aspire to do, don't shoot for the like Mr. Beast levels of things. Like, there are tiers to this. There are certainly like I'm trying to get to the point, and I'm now coming out of an era where I was I didn't want to share much about like my personal life and like dox myself, because I was living and working in a co-op, and it was real easy to find me. Like if you have my name, I didn't want people showing up at the co-op in Los Angeles. If I even mention the name of it, you can Google it. And I'm coming out of that area, and now I've had this content creator thing on the back burner. I've been doing it for like 3 years. Like I'm coming out of like year 4. I think I'm about to hit my 5-year anniversary in July as a streamer. And I've been doing it passively. Like I have not actively been really doing it. And I just think that like that's probably the best way to do it. Like if you want to try to create content, do it in a way that it fits into your life.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to like, disrupt your life to create content. Make content about your life. Like it should not ever be like a divorce from yourself.
That's
because
fair.
then you're going to be making something that's like alien and not authentic. And people don't actually usually watch that stuff.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And that's the thing. Like I know, like myself, I ended up with I got burnt out. So I took these like few days where I just put in the only content that I came in was stuff that I already had from previous pods. Didn't worry about any of those right now, and so I just kind of let those go. But I'm like, you know what? Like eventually, I was like, I just got to get through this. And what's funny is the inspiration can come from anywhere. And it was actually a video I saw about the new Star Wars Galactic Racer, and I'm super stoked about it. But I'm reading the comments, and people are like, I don't want. Nobody asked for this. We don't want this. And so I turned around and I was like, nah, I ain't down with that. So I just made a video on it, and it kind of sparked that feeling again of like, dude, this was actually kind of fun. Let's do this. And so, and that's the thing I love about when it comes to content creation is just remember why you do it. Remember why you decide to make it. And it don't always have to be for money. It can just be because you love it. I know people who don't really get much people in their lives at all, but they get 2-3 people there sitting there. They're bullshitting for hours. Bullshitting for hours. We are in an era where you make legitimate friends online. There are people who probably will never know my actual name and will always know me as Afrofish. And that's
the era we're in. Like that, the whole like. What do they call it when someone's like a parasocial?
Parasocial, yeah.
Like they say it is like a negative thing, and it's like, yes, if you get to that point to where you're parasocial, and it is an actual, it's a clear definition of you don't actually engage with that person, but you communicate as though you do, and you've deluded yourself into thinking you have a social connection with that person that you don't. Mm-hmm. Not all online relationships are parasocial. There are actual, authentic, genuine relationships. And to label all of them as parasocial is not genuine. That's being disingenuous.
It is. It is.
People really do have connections and make friendships. And I know people that have like traveled across the country just to meet up with a friend that they knew from Twitter. And it just ends up being like the best connection and relationship. And
I mean, I don't know about Twitter. I don't know about Twitter friends. Like, but
I have a couple that I knew from PlayStation that I met in my adult life after gaming with them for the better part of a decade, and then came out to California and went and spent a weekend at their house. And we're still friends. Like they moved to Montana and they're not in California anymore, but like there are genuine connections. And we're just in a day and age where like that this is what's available because, and now you're going to hear the radical part of me start to slip out. We've sort of created a society where you have to spend money to socialize. And that's kind of like been the goal. We've like slowly gotten rid of like parks and like cafes where you can just go sit and have coffee and not spend money. Like we're losing this there's a definition of what's called a third space. Not work, not home, just somewhere to hang out. And we're slowly losing third spaces, especially in the United States. And you can't go anywhere and hang out without spending money. So people are being driven to find connection online and from the internet. And that's just humans adapting to the conditions that we're put into. But I mean, that's kind of that's cause, meet, effect. Like you get rid of the third spaces, like people are gonna find a way to find community. That's what humans do.
That's so true. I mean, it's kind of funny the ways that I think of, like, because I work with seniors. So like listening to how they might find someone, or they hung out and, going to an ice cream shop, or, going to, he's mentioned going to a cafe, going somewhere. And now it's like I pop on to here and I find people that are like, oh dude, you're kind of cool. I'm gonna go talk to you for a while. I ended up going overseas. I went to the UK to go visit friends for the first time. And it was fun. It was also kind of funny because one of my friends, he's over there, he's about 5'6". And so for me, who's like 6'2", when I first walked in there, yeah, he walked in, he's like, damn, you Americans are big. Like, nah, bro, you just short, man.
Yeah, it's really just like, as humans, we seek connection, we want community, and gaming, these online platforms, it's another avenue to connect with people. And we really don't like we've divorced our idea from the thought that like we need community. Like we have this society where we're pushing people to be individuals. Like everything's on you. You have to do it alone. It's make or break. You need to lock in. And it's sort of like you're talking about these people who lived in previous generations that were sort of like in the mindset that like you need families. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes it takes there's all these idioms or country sayings, as we call them, and they all just sort of like tell you like people need people. And yet we're like barreling forward in this idea that like everyone can be a CEO, everyone's going to be a business owner. Let me tell you, like if every single person owned a business, nothing would run, nothing would function. There's nobody there to run the cash register if everybody owns a business. So it's like, I don't know, we're still striving for that society where everybody's a business owner, nobody works for anyone. But like that doesn't make sense. We need workers, we need cashiers, we need janitors, we need carpenters.
We need, and that's really true that you mentioned with like people just needing connection, because that's what I think just as humans, like you mentioned, we desire. But there's so many people, especially I know this a lot, especially in like nerd spaces, gaming spaces, anime spaces. There's a lot of people who really struggle with connection. Like actually, once they actually get to that point where they have to connect, and they actually really struggle from it. As much as I love anime conventions, that is the one place you can definitely tell people are also excited because they can be themselves. But then those insecurity parts still come through where they can't connect themselves as well because they can't talk. They can't, it's like you have a group of 3 or 4 people and one person might be just standing there,
Yeah.
I'm a type of person, I'm like, get in here. I want to hear your opinion on it too. And so I think that's the one thing as well that people need to work on also learning is just.
Yeah. But that comes from community. Like you got to get people in a group. And then when you see that person that's struggling, there's people like you that just like sort of give them that little push forward. Like, what do you think? Like what? And it again takes a village to, it takes community to have that connection and have that sense and be comfortable and aware enough of each other that somebody's like gone nonverbal. Like maybe they're like, struggling with the current social situation. And, we have, unfortunately, like I said, we're barreling in this individualist ideal of society. And now like conventions, and I'm a former raver, so like festivals, these large gatherings of humans where, let's go back 200 years where everyone was still pretty much farming and sort of, served a lord that, kept them safe. And it was very feudal for most places of the world.
Yeah.
But you worked half the year And then the other half the year was harvest and festival time. And that was time off. And it's crazy to admit, but medieval peasants worked less than we do because they had like half the year off. And so like now we're working 365 year round. And if you want to go to a festival and have that connection that before you just used to be the default half the year, now you have to take time off of work where you're going to, not get paid. Or if you have paid time off, good for you. Very few people do. But then you have to pay to travel to wherever that festival is happening. You have to pay for lodging. Usually there's some kind of costumes or food during the day is exorbitant. And so like now we're spending thousands of dollars just to be in like community with each other in a festival setting where we don't have to worry about work and all the other external factors, cars and navigating traffic. And just to have that festival experience costs so much when that used to be like the default. I can't help but like lament that we're just not doing human right. It just doesn't feel like it feels like we've gone from the known path of what was building society and helping us grow and establish culture that we all like. Everyone looks back to poets. Nobody's going, we got this really dope poet in this modern day. Look back to art, because art back then was made in a different place. Nobody was trying to make art for profit. So it's just, I lament as to like what we're doing with society and why capitalism has like poisoned the path forward, like almost. And so like I love content. I love being a streamer because it gives me that connection to that community. But at the same time, I will not let go of the fact that like that anti-capitalist thread that led me to get a platform that helped me, build my community is why I do it. That's actually what propels me forward, is to try to find ways to build my audience, build my platform, and not piss off my sponsors so that I can continue to make a living. But then at the same time, it's really important that I have that messaging and that I continue to communicate that like we can do better. We can dream about a world where we aren't, beholden to just profit incentives. And hopefully one day we'll achieve a point to where like everyone at least can survive and doesn't have to suffer. And that is feasible with our technologies. That is feasible with the way that, we can design and maintain cities, systems, food, and logistic like resources. We don't have to have capitalist systems that charge people to live. We could just offer that as at base, and then encourage people to do additional work and additional things for incentive. We could completely retool society. There's no reason we can't. Anybody that tells you otherwise is just trying to cling to that model, and probably there's something in it for them.
I mean, probably. I mean, I think with the needing for a world that is one that you don't, you mentioned, you don't have to basically live to have to pay to live. Living should always be something.
Apparently I'm hogging the entire convo.
I could give a fuck less about a lot of them. A lot of them are bots, so like I don't even worry about them. Like I've had so many people who come through there and then just like they'll say something and I'm just like I look and I just keep on moving with my day. At the end of the day, they fuel that engagement, so they're doing what I need them to do, whether they like to or not. So
we see you though, Derek. Here's the attention that you ordered.
Attaboy, buddy. So, but yeah, I think like creating a world, and I see it through the eyes of, like I said, through people who are older, and watching how their lives were, and they talk about back, we had community in our towns and everything, and people would if they did become rich, they'd come back to the hometown so they could build that up and all that. And I always there's two sides of me. There's a part of me that was much like, you know, it's fine. I get it. It's from an era, but also that era is not what we live right now. I would love to get back to feeling like we can be, you know, more community driven. Part of that, I'm not gonna lie, there's always that small part of me that wants to be like, it's your fault. But like, but I don't want to be that person because it doesn't help anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily like their fault. It's like we literally designed society to be as extractive as possible. Like that's business. Business is the perfection of extracting resources, and we just went. That's the goal, and sort of like was like everybody should try to run a business. Everybody should try to be a business owner, and so now this is the result.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with like, you know, like I know some people it's cool to want to like run your business. It's cool to want to have that, you know, the big CEO spot. Not everybody's also suited for it. Like,
Yeah, and I love business owners, like especially small businesses. Like I love businesses and family-owned businesses. That's fine. But just to reiterate, we need carpenters. We need electricians.
We do need, yeah, we do. Like that was actually one of them I was considering going for at one point. Was an electrician, and
It's
like
a dope, noble profession, and
yeah.
pretty hard. Like it takes a lot of math.
Yeah, it does, and it's cool. Like my uncle does it. My old roommate, he went for it, and now he's I think he's down near Florida. And yeah, I'll have a second here. You okay there, bud? Like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
seeing
it
it.
sounds like yeah, I'm seeing it. It sounds like someone's hurting you. Like, imagine
Somebody's-
coming up and this is what you want to post, bro. This is what you want to post. I'm glad I can give you your time. Thanks, buddy. Your engagement is definitely where I want it to be. But
Talk about like broadcasting you're single.
right, like, oh no, exactly. It's crazy. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. It's so crazy. I had this happen on a different one too, and I just, like I said, I got to the point where I just ignore it. Like I really don't care.
I mean, I gotta give him the credit. I mean, trans inclusive bigotry is pretty. That was very wokenly womanizing of him.
Yeah. He'll probably go create like another one, and then he'll probably put it back up again. And you know, I mean, like if that's what you want to do, bud, like that's all good. But like I said, a lot of them are just bots and losers. So I just kind of like, okay, I know which ones.
I just can't imagine trying to convince the world that, like, definitively that you're single. That was just...
like I mean, it's so telling. You see that a lot in the gamer space. I'm not gonna lie, you see that a lot in the gaming space. The people who are very much, I mean, it's the anti-woke crowd. It's the crowd of, man. I had a dude in my live, I think last month. I don't know why, but it just sticks with me because it was so fucking evident. But this dude was just pissed off at like all women in gaming because like a couple women apparently ruined his guild that he ran. And I'm like, if the guild, if two people come in and ruin a guild that you built up, like they're garbage, at least trans positive.
I know, that's what I was like.
I love
it. Didn't want to even say it. I was like,
but yeah, it's this it's, you know, and I'm like, if two women were enough to destroy an entire guild that you spent on building, then your whole guild was built on a house of cards anyways. So I'm like, he's like, but I have an anecdotal evidence can really matter. I'm like, no, it fucking doesn't. Like, I'm like, it sucks, and I'm sorry that guild happened to you, but like,
sometimes people just suck.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and it takes a lot less energy to destroy something than it does to build something. So I always admire people that build things way more than anyone that can destroy something.
Well, especially in the social media space where, I mean, we see creators end up either outing themselves and their reputation gets ruined, or the mask comes off and everyone else's mask comes off too. And so That's why,
Nicki Minaj.
yeah, yeah. Like, well, her mask has been slipping for years.
Yeah.
It's just people just don't pay attention to it. But like, I can't think of that one dude who was like the Marvel Rivals player. He was mad. I remember what it was. He was mad because like he kept blaming women for like why like they were throwing the game, and then they went and looked at his gameplay, and he was fucking terrible. You know, and so
Is
they're
the
like,
obvious example of you're bad and just blaming other people.
oh my god, and that's the thing. A lot of the hate comes down to skill issue. A lot of the hate comes down to skill issue. Like,
I think most competitive players, like if you play ranked games and you're like blaming people and you catch yourself on mic blaming other people, go look at your match history. Like if you feel that angry that you're blaming other people, go look at your win percentages, look at your past match, look at how many defeats versus wins are in that, and sit with it for a minute. Because like, 9 times out of 10, the common denominator is you.
Oh yeah. And like I play Tekken a lot, you know, and so it's just a wild to me that I play Tekken, I play Jin's mom, and then like every time I lose, I'm like, women. And just like it sounds so dumb. So it's just like, no, when I lose, I'm like, no, there's an accountability to it. Take accountability. Like if you lost, you lost. Like honestly, unless you're playing on a high professional level, most of y'all will finish the game and then either go play something else or go grab something to eat or something like that. It's really no big deal. It's not nearly as big as you think it is. But the fact that if like your initial reaction is to go blame everybody else instead of just being like, damn, I just didn't play good this game. Like
my favorite is I'll be because I'm actually a pretty avid Marvel Rivals player. I've peaked Diamond 2, I think. It was either Diamond 2 or Diamond 1. I'm a Penny main. I don't know if you're familiar with Penny Parker in the game. She's
not in the game, just she's from the Spider-Verse movie, I remember.
She's from the Spider-Verse, and in the game she's in the Vanguard category. She's a tank. Her kit is particularly defensive. She drops a machine that spreads out webs so that your support can kind of hide in the webs with some defense. It gives them a place to hide because the mine machine automatically attacks the other team. And so it's more of a defensive kit. Now that being said, we'll be losing on a game. We'll be in like platinum. Usually when the rank resets is when I get this comment the most. The rank will reset and put me back down into gold because the season's restarted. And I'll be playing, trying to get back up to platinum. And so we'll be losing. We'll have, you know, because it's like best of 3. We'll have that first round and we'll lose. And somebody will be like, well, why are you on Penny on offense? And they'll drop that comment. And I'm just like, okay, I peaked Diamond. I promise you that's not the issue here. Like the issue is we have like our offense players, the DPS, are completely ignoring the fact that our support are getting decimated in the back line. So nobody's able to heal. And that's
wood
like
tier for life.
Wood tier for life for real. If you're not paying attention to your supports in the back line, you're gonna have a bad time every single match. Because if they can't stay alive, they can't heal you. If you can't get healed, then you're gonna collapse and you won't be able to hold your line.
I remember my Overwatch days like that. Like I remember because I played mainly just support.
It's players that will like lash out and they're like, "We're losing because you're using Penny on offense." And I'm like, "Bro, look at my match history. Look at my win percentages. Like,
there's a reason why we're doing good right now."
And it's like I'm telling you that like you're blaming me for my character choice, but you're also ignoring the fact that the other team is literally beating our support down in the back line. And you just need to turn around and pay attention. And it's just you learn in the gaming space. There are people who are like,
it's damage. It's damage players. Is it?
It's always DPS. And it's like they play the game to try to be the main character. They've got that like main character mentality. They want to go in and fight. They're in it for the fight, and they completely ignore the objective. And there are just people in life like that.
Yeah.
There's people in life like that. They exist. Most of them are DPS players. And they just ignore the objective. They are trying to establish their narrative. They want their narrative to be established at the expense of anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go look at their win-loss percentage, like it's very evident like why they're not having a good time. And it's like that unfortunately is just that is how society is. Like it's like a really good, like it's a mirror of there's a lot of people out there like that. Like they're on their path, they're trying to do their thing regardless of what the actual point and objective is.
I'd say it comes down to it's a skill issue. It's always it's a skill. You can't cooperate with your team. Like you can't cooperate with your team. The only time they do is after they've lost. Like I've been that player where I've gotten upset with someone because I'm like, yo, like we don't need a Genji right now. Like why are you off by yourself? Like do you not see that like the control point is
We've
right
got a 4 versus 5 and you're hiding off in the distance. There's nobody to dive. Like we need you on the line.
And that's why I ended up stopped playing Overwatch. Well, after I switched to Overwatch 2, I kind of stopped because I didn't like the way that some of the stuff was going. But I know it's going back to basically Overwatch 1 again. I just am like, do I really want to go through and like learn all the comps and learn all this again?
I'll be honest, they lost. Like I liked Overwatch and I liked it a lot. And they lost me to Marvel Rivals. They definitely did. And I'll be honest that it feels good not to be supporting Blizzard.
Like,
sorry, just
don't blame
I
me.
have no I kind of miss Overwatch, and there are times where I want to go back and check in and see the new updates and the changes and everything. But like after everything that they've done, like with their workers, like they treat their workers horribly. Like their programmers, their designers. Like I'm not a big fan of Blizzard. I've lost viewers because I was playing Overwatch and people were like, I don't want to support a streamer that plays a Blizzard game. And I just had to be like, you know what? I get it. Like as a socialist, I spend my money in certain ways. I support certain things. And I wanted to get in the Blizzard content creator space to have a voice for those problems was kind of my route and my justification for it. I don't know if ultimately it was worth it, but that was the choice that I made. And it's like, as we're evolving as a society to become more of this internet socialization, it's important that we keep an eye on being collective. I definitely I do worry that we're going to end up in sort of a Matrix style future where we've got people in pods connected with wires.
Superpowers.
I mean, if you're just a human being in a pod that's powering, a giant computer system, you don't really, I mean, you get superpowers inside the simulation, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do the same thing whenever I play like Prototype. So, like,
but it's like, I worry that could.
Yeah, it feels wild until you start like thinking about like things like AI and all that. And I think like with
AI makes it even scarier because AI is we were going, this could be a possible future, but our limitations are making it to where that probably won't happen.
Well, and we're seeing,
but now those limitations are gone.
And what we're seeing actively people who are against AI, and it's a hard one because I understand that like for example, in the gaming space, AI has been used for tool structures, stuff like that, and for the most part, from these people that I talk to, they're not mad at that.
Yeah. Like if it's and you gotta admit, like especially being in this space, we are very well aware that cat is not going back in the bag.
Oh no, that's out. Yeah. That's completely out. And so when I start hearing of generative AI, when I start hearing that you're writing your stories using AI, I hear that you're building your characters using AI, I have a real issue with it. And I know some people have an issue. There's nothing I can do about changing it, like changing like how they use it for tools or something like that. There's nothing I can change about that. But I definitely understand. Like if I'm playing the game and I found out that you just made the game based off of AI, I'm gonna feel like you didn't fucking try. It's like if I went to go read a book and I found out you made your book off of AI, I don't care how good the book is. You did not actually do that.
Yeah,
the AI did it for you.
You lose your zeal for it because you're like, this isn't even a human endeavor. Like, why invest my emotions into it?
Like I was seeing one round where they're like, "Oh, you can make your faces look like whoever," and I'm like, "So now you're gonna be seeing lawsuits like crazy of people using their likeness."
Yeah,
it's crazy because that's gonna be one of those things that people don't read the terms and conditions on shit. So like one of the things are gonna be in there, like we can use your likeness for basically whatever we want. And that's what you're going to start seeing. That's what you're going to start being like, no, you couldn't use my likeness to advertise.
You check the box.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see yourself in a commercial and you're going to be like, where's my check? And they're going to be like, we didn't check the box.
You check the box. So that's the scary part. That's why I do read the terms and conditions. Yeah, it's a lot. That's on purpose. It's on purpose to overload you with information. Especially for people who they know is not going to go read the terms and conditions for college football. They know they ain't reading it. They're just going through, click, gone, whatever. And that's why I use it. That's why I've been talking more when it comes. Actually, I bring it back to gaming, obviously, because gaming content creator. But like the one thing I've always told people is that the game companies know a lot more about you than you know about them. And I'm like, you guys don't think they do, but they know. They know so much about you because every time you click a box, every time you say, "Yup, you can collect my data." They were figuring out what you like to purchase, what you'll look at, how long. Let's say you go look at 3 games. They'll know if you want to get that game. They know what you like.
Triangulation.
All to push everything towards you into a certain way. And that is
wealth extraction. That's the goal.
And it's a hard thing too, because it's crazy. You know what I mean? Professionals and artists using AI tools to allow them to fix up, thumbs up. Prompt Bros saying they are artists.
Yeah, and this has obviously been a very, very like intense debate. It's going on now. The world is changing drastically now. And there are virtually 3 camps. I see 3. You have your AI bros, your AI people use the pejorative term clanker. You know, you have your people that wholeheartedly embrace AI and they're using AI and they're trying to use it for everything.
I can't stand
it.
I hate clanker.
Then you have your second camp, your people that completely avoid it and try to actively avoid everything that's AI and try to get everything that's like, you know, any kind of generative, any kind of editing, any use of AI. They're completely against it. And I don't think that's right either. I think this is the new telephone. This is the new internet. This is the new GPS. Like there are times when we said we felt that everyone that has a cell phone is now like going to lose themselves to humanity. Like we have had these times throughout history where we go, this is completely wrong and nobody should use it. And it's like, it was an evolution of humans and it was just a small benchmark, a step along the way. And if you want to oppose it, that's fine. But like I just said, you're not going to put that cat back in the bag. And I think it's really on us to kind of start to have very clear, like, boundaries as to like what we consider acceptable uses of AI and not acceptable. And I don't think having an all-out like if you're completely an anti-AI person, you're gonna have a really, really difficult life in the next 5 to 10 because it's in everything. And you're going to need to learn to use it as a tool, a lot like GPS or your cell phone. And if you can't, it's going to become difficult to interact with a lot of things. I really, honestly, wholeheartedly believe that. And I think that we need to start to understand it as a tool because it's not going away. And it can be used for editing. It can be used for, personalization and customization and things like that. we shouldn't be using it for generative. I definitely and wholeheartedly agree with that. You know, we need artists to be making art. And the fact that we have computers making art is depressing, honestly.
Oh, especially people who are taking credit for it. On a positive note, someone thinks says that you are very pretty.
Oh, well, thank you.
So I and I agree. I think that like if you don't, it reminds me very much back when like people weren't gonna get, like you mentioned, we're gonna get cell phones. We're not gonna get cell phones, never gonna use it. And you are just gonna have a much harder time trying to do anything without it. And now with AI.
Let me say that I do, if anybody's watching this, I want to encourage you to do something. If you are scared of AI but want to use AI, make your own AI.
You can do that, can't you?
Now download an AI, buy like a Mac Mini or some old computer and put it on that computer and have your own AI that's not draining water. Like you can use AI without having to use, you know, Chat GPT or Claude or any of these big giant evil ones. Get your own AI model, put it on a energy, you know, efficient computer that's not, you know, sucking the water out of rural areas.
You stole my prompt. I worked hard on my prompts. That'll be the future too. That'll be the future of people being like, bro, why are you guys taking all my prompts? And I'm like, why can't you just make your art yourself?
We're seeing that now. We're seeing that the Court of Appeals in the United States has actually already viewed some of these cases, and they are determining that anything used with AI does not have any kind of trademark rights or copyright protections.
Oh, so they said straight out that is not.
But now, like, the question is, what about the art that the AI used to establish its knowledge base? What about the copyright and the trademark protections? And is that transfer?
Well, isn't that where, because that's where they were having the issues with, or they were talking about with the strikes, the voice actor strikes, because they were trying to use AI to just to basically take their voices and then not pay them anymore. And that's why we were seeing a bunch of that, which I think, yeah, absolutely. Like voice actors, the writers, they all deserve to get paid for it. But
and real quick, I want to point out this comment. Someone's like, run your own local Chinese language learning models. Yes. And they don't necessarily have to be Chinese, but seeing as they're running a form of government that's not wholeheartedly concerned with profit and capital, we are seeing things come out of that government that are being shared that wouldn't be normally shared. So, you know, not to knock it, like I'm not going to say that like you won't find a US based language learning model that you can download on a computer, but it's more likely to come from that side of the fence. Just going to throw that out there.
True. And it's going to, and that's why I think AI is such an interesting thing. That's why it does concern me. Like when we're seeing brands like, you know, like
really
people,
it excites me.
It does. Like I would say there are some cool things with it. I want to say there's not. I think where I see a lot of the AI and a lot of the issues probably comes from, I'll admit, probably comes from a lot of media stuff. So it's just like, you know, when you get these big ones, like you said, like Palantir and like, you know, the Chat GPT.
I mean, I play Arc Raiders. I mean, I'm aware of like what the possible.
And like and that's the thing. Like I can understand it. And like I said, like AI has been around, used for like helping with like tools and having to fix things and all that other kind of stuff for a long time. My only thing is I just don't want them to try to, you know, companies are going to try to do this, but like the takeaway, trying to build, you know, what was the game that was trying to build like purely AI? Wasn't that one of like Elon Musk's one of his or something? I
remember there was some kind of game that they were trying to completely use AI and everyone revolted against it, and it didn't really get out of like development phase.
No, and because they don't, at the end you still need the people to do
but
it.
I've had people come into my chat because I'm playing Arc Raiders because the drones, robots are controlled by AI, and they've unfollowed me because I'm playing a game that uses AI. And what I'm trying to purport, what I want anyone watching or my audience from henceforth to start to ask ourselves is like, what is an acceptable use of AI? Because it's not going away. Like, what if we're not using it for entertainment? What can we be using it for? Because not generative AI is what's sucking up the water. Like generative AI, when these giant computers are trying to come up with new things that they haven't thought about before, that is not a good use of AI.
No.
But if we're using an AI that's using like human behavior that it's seen before just to maneuver and adapt and that's not using that much resources, that to me, that's a benign use of AI.
I think it leads to like a larger conversation, which is actually a larger and very interesting conversation too, of where where people stand on this usage of it. And that's the thing that gets me was like where those data centers are also. Those data centers are being put in places that are more impoverished. They are being put in places on purpose to hurt people. And that's
Amazon
the thing
shipping centers follow the same model.
They on purpose to apps because where I live up at, they were I think they were trying to put either a data center, I think, up here. There's a lady that was running for one of the government seats, and she was like, well, I'm for better work days and better trying to improve it, blah blah blah, but she's also trying to shove data centers everywhere in Wisconsin. And so at that point it's like, well, I'm not going to support you, because that's just you're just gonna try to fuck over, especially like I lived up in a smaller rural town. I don't want my small rural town, as much as it annoys me sometimes, that town's annoying as fuck, but like get damaged because of the fact that you try to bring in a data center that's not going to actually do anything.
Well, and that's what's fun, because like at the beginning of our chat before we started recording, I kind of let some of my history slip. I initially was a meme account. I used that platform to run for a local office, and for at least a term, I sat on the Wilshire Center Koreatown Neighborhood Council, which is a body in Los Angeles that is an advisory body to the City Council of Los Angeles. And I ran as an out communist, ran and was elected and sat as a sub-District 3 representative, and then eventually moved to an at-large seat on the same body to eventually be appointed the president of the neighborhood council. And so I served the city of Los Angeles as an out communist for 2-3 years before realizing I can't actually do anything. There's nothing I can do. The main thing we're concerned about is not upsetting the people that would eventually fund our campaigns. And those are really big organizations and different things that honestly have the power and the influence over the local neighborhood and local city. And it's like, you're not going to find any politician in the United States that's successful that isn't fundraising at least half the time. And if they're spending half the time fundraising, how are they ever supposed to get anything done? Or if half of that time they've spent fundraising is making promises to people that want to install data centers, how are they going to hold the promises to all the other people that live, in the district that they and that's true everywhere. Like it doesn't stop in small town. It's a large town, it's a small town. The American political model is fundraising. That is what we've done. It even goes so far as to, if you want to really get in the weeds and get into like the political nerd stuff, go look up a court case called Citizens United versus FEC. And what this court case basically established in the United States is that corporations can have a political opinion and are able to contribute to political candidates, and that's allowed. We have limitations on how much individuals can contribute to political candidates, but because of this court case, corporations don't. And so then I posit you, if your donation can only be this much and a corporation can donate whatever, who are they going to listen to?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, you mentioned that before, and it's the truth. Like, and I think I wondered, like, when you started like kind of coming to that realization, was it actually just kind of scary? Just like when just like how much you're like, shit, this is a lot more than I actually expected. Like,
The way I could explain it is that I've given up 10 times to only pick myself up and try to find a new way to start trying to un-F this pig.
that's fair. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot. It is. It's crazy. Like I couldn't imagine.
And so it's led me through, meme account, agitprop, local politics, elected official, cosplay model influencer, gamer influencer, and now political activist gamer influencer. I sit on a board of the Beverly, Vermont Community Land Trust. And I will tell you outright, there's nothing definitively radical about a land trust. It is just an organization that exists to buy land so that people that are usually affordable housing, that live in affordable housing, have affordable housing to live in.
Right.
And one thing I'll tell you that is radical about it is that land trusts ensure that affordable housing is permanent.
Oh,
That is why land trusts exist. And so I sit on the board of a land trust that is literally just trying to take housing out of the speculative housing market and just make sure that it stays in the affordable realm forever, so that families and people that are lower income can actually afford to live. And when you give people that housing stability, you start to dream, like, what if people have stable housing and can start to organize and push back against all this stuff we've just talked about for an hour, like, what better future is possible?
mm-hmm.
And so, like, I'm at the point where, like, okay, I'm a gamer influencer. Mostly what I'm doing is just making sure people know these things exist, because these ideas are just not heard about. Nobody hears about them, and I want people to know about them, because if I think it's worth fighting for, I'm hoping other people think that they're worth fighting for, and that we can all collectively come to support these ideas and start to build a better future. Because as of right now, we're coming from behind, man.
Oh yeah. No, if people aren't just struggling to exist, they can actually start to live, and that's huge.
Beautifully said. That's beautifully said.
I would think so. And I think that's just, oh shit. Okay, there we go. Like I hit my instructor messaged me finally on one of my assignments, and I was just like, oh shit, I hit the wrong button. So, and now it just popped up again. So, but no, I think, damn.
What's your instructor for? What do you class?
Communications with a concentration with new media. Since I love doing podcasts.
That's what we're doing.
I love doing that shit so much. I'm like, why not just go to school for it? I was like, fuck it.
And oh my God, I'm so happy like, people need to invest in themselves more. Like, we're in a day and age where everyone's trying to attach themselves to, like, corporations or businesses and things. And it's like, go take a class to learn how to do something, because, like, nobody can take that from you. And, like, you can go dedicate yourself to working for a corporation and put 5 years in, or you could go learn how to, like, do carpentry and build tables, because ultimately that business can fail. But if you know how to do carpentry and make tables, like, you could always fall back on that.
Always have some sort of skill. It's like something you're good at. It can be something as good as talking. People who are good talkers, you can make it real far by just being a good talker.
But people take classes for that. People take public speaking and hosting classes. Like, invest in yourself. It is so important for people to do that.
For me, I always say too, be authentic. Like, be yourself. Like, honestly, it sounds so cliche, but be authentically yourself, and people will latch to that. People latch to authenticity, and that's what makes, honestly, not even just content creators, that's just makes people want to be around you.
That's so true.
It's so fucking important.
It's like everybody wants to be viewed a certain way, and it's like that's okay to like aspire to like try to be cool. But like I'm never gonna be dark and mysterious. I talk too much for that. And so it's okay to just let that go. Like
when I was younger, I remember I wanted to be the one that nobody messes with, blah blah blah. And I came to a point where I just don't care. Like I was like, I'm just gonna be me. If you don't like it, fuck off. Like it was.
But it's like by dedicating to you want to be the person that people are intimidated by, you're making yourself unapproachable. So is that even actually something you want to be?
And it was funny because I realized it took me a while to realize I wasn't that person, and I couldn't be that person because like I love to sit here, I love to talk, I love to like enjoy, get everybody involved and all this other kind of stuff. And so
You're
like I'm like
a person.
Yeah, I'm an exact opposite of what. It's funny because my brother, my birth mom, I'm adopted, so my birth mom would always talk about the fact that she'd be like, "Oh, your brother is such a social butterfly." Not real. I'm the same fucking way. And once she found out, she's like, "No, I can see exactly how you two are brothers." It's like, yeah, we are both the same.
By the way, I saw a comment, and I want to address it. Somebody had said that they were attracted to me, and they want to know if it's gay if they're attracted to me.
No.
And I want to say no, because I'm a woman, and if you're a man attracted to a woman, that's called straight.
Bingo. Yeah, and there's so many people who come into and they're like, I just don't know. And I'm like, it's
always YouTube. YouTube has the most Wild West comment section. Like between my platforms, that's the one that is off the
I'll say TikTok is not, but that's because TikTok does have some like regulations on what they're trying to say. YouTube can be like this, but not nearly as bad. Insta is where I really get it.
Really? Maybe it's because I've tailored I've been on Insta and had an established community on Insta longer than anywhere else.
Insta
I kind of have a community that moderates in that collective sense.
The reason why is because it's so crazy because Insta is one where like I put like so my clips go to 4 places: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And so
the Facebook, do you do it manually?
No, I do it. I'll show you how to do it later.
Should talk to me offline because I need a better pipeline for Facebook.
Oh yeah, will do. And so I did was like I set it up and I had a video. One of my last videos that came up was just about people of like if you're in your 30s and 40s and you're still like wanting to run slurs, kind of like what we were because of the whole like Asmongold bullshit. But it was like if you're still trying to run slurs and all that shit, like just grow the fuck up. And I get dudes in there like full, always dudes, always pasty, but like always being like, well, like I can't believe this guy is such a woman, just toughen up and blah blah blah. And I'm like, so I'm gonna do another video on that, being like, imagine telling someone that you have to just go deal with my bigotry because that's how it toughens people up. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, like when you really think about it. And so
it just goes to show, like, there's some people that don't care about the impact they have.
Mm-hmm.
And that ultimately is what it boils down to. There are people that want to cause a positive impact in life, and there are people that can't be bothered with it.
No. And then later, the thing that's funny is they'll be the first people to bitch when it affects them. When it affects them, then they're like, well, why don't you care?
Oh, this woke bullshit, blah blah blah.
They're trying to force me to play. That's why one of my problems was nobody can force you to play anything in gaming, right? And it was like, because I see people be like, well, they're trying to force me to play a gay relationship, and I was like, oh, that optional side quest that you don't even have to do, you have a choice. So if you choose to take Yasuke from Assassin's Creed and have him into a gay relationship, you realize you chose to do that.
There's that meme. It's just like, can you believe this? They're making me play this game where these 2 dudes are kissing. Look, it says to mash the button fast and they'll really make out. This is disgusting. It's like mashing the button. It's like, bro, you're doing it. Like
we're just kind of looking like, okay. You do you, like, and that's the thing is like nobody's forcing you, nobody's forcing the shit down your throat, blah blah blah. You guys are just, I was fine. You guys are just soft. Y'all are soft.
This is perfect point to bring this point up. So I'm trans content creator, and I'm not. Yeah, I'm not in any way do I hide it. Like, I'm very out and open about it. And these people will just comment on my comments. They'll just say things like are you pre-op or post-op or da da da, just like any kind of comment. And it's like, what they don't realize, and the ones that really get me are they're like, I'm so sick of seeing trans content. And it's like, the way algorithms work, if you put a comment on a trans content creator's content, you're going to see more. And it's like, the fact that they're on the internet and they don't understand how the internet works.
It's so funny too, yeah. Because when you get the ones who are so mad, it's like I have to LGBT. They always
the alphabet mafia.
Yeah, they're trying to force us to do things, and I'm like what?
Well, the crazy thing is like that most people don't realize that like the default is like cis heteronormative, like
yep.
Straight relationships is force fed. Like, people don't quite realize to what degree, unless you're queer, unless you're gay, unless you're, not that, you don't realize how much it's force fed. And so if queer people responded the way that straight people do about that stuff, like, there would be no media.
Well, and what's crazy too, or not crazy, but it's really ironic, is like the fact that they'll try to justify it later on, because they have this a lot, especially being black, with racism. They do the same thing where it's like, it's fine if it's a white dude who's the default, but you can create your own character, and like, so I have to switch off of the default white guy, but if it's a default black guy, you just blow the fuck up. Like, they're trying to make me play, or God forbid if it's a black woman.
God forbid it's a slightly masculine woman.
Oh, no, exactly.
They lose their shit. They're trying to make it a lesbian character. It's like, not every
it's like
woman character has to be, look like a Playboy bunny. Like,
well, and it's like, after a while, you just sit there like and you're like, your stupid is showing. Because you obviously just must not be around women to understand that. Or like, and so they are the same dudes are there, some of the biggest babies in the entire world, because everything's not catering to them. What doesn't help is that we have a society that's like, you shouldn't feel bad for being a bigot. That's what they really want to say. They try to say feel guilty for being white, but what they're really trying to say is like, you shouldn't feel bad for saying slurs. You shouldn't feel bad for being a bigot. You shouldn't feel bad for being a piece of shit.
No, I think you just hit the nail on the head. Like, ever since the inception of the gaming industry, it has been catered to the cis white male. Like, all the games were made for that demographic. And we are now seeing an industry that has exploded into every type of representation that you could possibly imagine. And it is no longer an industry that is catering specifically for that 25 to 35 white male demographic, and they just can't believe it. And it breaks the reality that they are the apex of society, and that's what they have an issue with.
Well, I feel like it was Legends of the Fallen director who was like, we're gonna make sure that they tried to advertise being like, we're gonna make sure that we have attractive females in our group, and I'm like, that's what you're advertising. Meanwhile, FromSoft is like, hey, Bloodborne's literally about women. Like, it's what's crazy is the fact that there's so many people who they don't understand any of it. They refuse to understand anything that's going on.
Realize they're not being catered to anymore.
And what we're seeing right now is a societal tantrum. We are seeing one big toddler tantrum because they are not placed first. And I will tear the entire society down. I will kick and bitch and moan like a fucking kid in like a store that doesn't get McDonald's when like I don't get what I want. And guess
Yeah.
what? You're making it everybody else is like the adult in the room, just sitting there like, okay.
But that's the problem is that we are the adults in the room and we know that that's wrong. But unfortunately, like most of those people that have that mentality are kind of in control right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
like
yeah. So
all the CEOs and the business owners and the people they're putting in charge of like these government agencies, they're of that mindset that the 25 to 35-year-old white male is who should be catered to, and the fact that society dares to develop in another way,
it's going to destroy the society. And then and the thing is funny is, because we're seeing this, we're seeing a split. We're seeing it from, some younger generations, some younger generations is going more that way, because whether it's because of the fact that their family is that way, so they're turning into it. But the ones who are breaking free from it, and I'm not saying necessarily like turning left, right? But I'm just saying the ones who are
Let me tell you, my whole mother's side of the family is Mormon. I couldn't have gotten further from the apple falls close to the tree. I am the absolute case and anomaly that you don't have to grow up closed-minded bigot.
And it's crazy is these are oh no, exactly. And these are the same people, and I'm sorry. And and it's the same people that were like, they'll try to disenfranchise anybody who's LGBT. We're seeing that right now with Kansas. I think it's Kansas right now.
Yeah, my home state. My home state is unfortunately now revoking the licenses of like 1,700 plus people. That is like 1,700 people that can no longer drive to and from work, can no longer apply for jobs. They can no longer apply for any kind of assistance. These are people that are losing their license that just last week had a valid driver's license. Imagine if your driver's license was just canceled. And that's what's happening.
And that's what scares, like, that's what scares me for all the people who are, who are trans, my friends who are trans and stuff too. And it pisses me off because this is not based. It's not like it's based in, like, they're trying to base it on some sort of science or blah, blah, blah. This is all based on feels. The group that wanted to bitch about facts over feelings is running around based off of feelings and throwing tantrums because they're not getting what they want. Or, God forbid, they found out that they're not as straight of a male as they thought.
Oh no, you're attracted to a person who is gender diverse.
Yeah, it's like, what do I do about that? Well, I go into office and I make everybody else's problem.
I make everyone else's life terrible.
And then and that's awful. The same. Those are the same families too that, like, their son ends up in like 4 fucking car accident on drugs and shit, but always gets away with it because their lawyer
they keep bailing him out.
Yup. And then eventually he gets to a point where he can't anymore because he ends up killing someone. I think I've seen that on like Criminal Minds or NCIS or something enough times. Like, it's just
it's kind of sad. Yeah. And pinned comment.
Oh yeah, and they can't even pretend it's not just a spiteful attack because they even revoked it for people who haven't even transitioned.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing that's crazy is, like, they're going after everybody else. I was talking to my coworker, and she was like surprised when I mentioned we talked about the Save America Act, and I was like, that Save America Act is literally about trying to take your rights away, and she's like, how so? And so I started digging into it because I said, why are we attacking Iran? And I was like, let me delve into why.
The Save America Act, it requires an ID to vote.
Yeah, it already requires an ID to vote. So now
some places you don't have to have an ID. You just have to have residence. And here in Los Angeles, you don't necessarily have to have your ID to vote. You show up to the poll, you give them your name and your address, and they verify that it's registered and valid, and you're allowed to vote. You don't actually have to present an ID. You just have to prove that you're a resident and a citizen, or not a citizen, but
and that's what makes
citizen of the city.
That's what makes me wonder too, because whenever I love asking, like, from who, right? Like when we were trying to save America from who? Because from the immigrant that came into here, all the ones that are committing crimes, like the ones in our government committing illegal acts, or the fraudsters that the guy pardoned, or the people that the line it goes down the line, and that's why for me personally, I've got to a point where I would just like, y'all just wanted him because he embodies who you are. He embodies the racist bigotry. He embodies the hatred of everything that you wanted to say, but you some reason felt like Joe Biden took away your ability to.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Someone in chat just mentioned like poll tax. A big part of the reason America fought in the Revolutionary War was to avoid poll tax, which means having to pay to vote. Is an ID that you have to pay for, not just another form of poll tax to prevent you from being able to vote.
And that's the thing is like, there's so many people who are like, I try to say like I to a certain extent I'll listen to people be like, oh, I just want a simpler time, right? A simpler time, it's simpler time, and I'm like, but even like when they start talking about those 1950s, and I ask people, what do you know what actually happened in those 1950s? Do you know what went on in the 1950s? Because like you're living, you want a Flanderized, infantilized version of the 1950s, the one that you saw where it's like, hello, son. What are you
just
doing
the
today?
Good bits.
Yeah, he's just like, come here, and he's like having a little pipe, watching his like weird ass TV look, and be like, you see, son, you got to go and play baseball today. You know, that's what you really want.
Not even addressing that women couldn't own property, let alone vote.
Women couldn't even defend themselves if their husband decided to get pissed off because they made spaghetti. Like, you know, and so like, and that's what a lot of those men, and that's why like a lot of those men want, and that's what I tell them. That's what you actually, you don't want this world where it's simpler. You just want everyone else to be below you, and then at the end of the day, that's a scary fucking thing to think about. And if that's how you feel, like, that's why I sound like, if that's how you feel, then you don't deserve to be in a lot of our spaces. There's a door for you. You can leave that. You know, and that's why it also gets me a little heated sometimes too when I hear people talk about the need for like what's it called? It's like the different opinion thing, right? And you hear that a lot from them too, like you can't even have different opinions anymore. And I'm like, we can have different opinions. We just there's a moral limit to where the opinions are. Especially, and I always say that if you don't understand where your opinion comes from, because that's what happened with tariffs. Most of them voted because we're gonna tariff them, but they didn't know what tariffs actually meant.
So women got the right to vote in 1911.
Yep.
That's when women's suffrage happened.
Yep.
But it wasn't until 1988 that it was signed, the Women's Business Ownership Act. So
wow. Well, and I think if I remember right, because let me go go check out, because I looked at something. One was domestic violence, I believe. So like domestic violence was, when did it become illegal? I believe it was like the 1970s. Yeah. It wasn't until the 1970s where the battered women's movement gave momentum. And then the Violence Against Women Act was 1994.
The 1969 no-fault revolution gave women the ability to divorce their husband.
The one that they're trying to take it away. No-fault divorce. Yep. And so it's just like, it's a fucky ride. And yeah. Like I know we got off topic of gaming, but all this stuff ties into
I got involved in gaming so that I can talk about this stuff.
No, absolutely.
I hope more content creators do, because like escapism is okay. Like we can't dwell on this stuff all the time. There's no point in poisoning our minds to the point where we can't be creative. But like, life is politics. Politics is life. We should not divorce the two of them. Otherwise, we have no control.
Yep, I agree. That's a good way to put it. I love that. So my last, I got 2 more questions for you. And I love doing these ones. I do these ones at the end of it. So the first one is for the people who where can they find you at social media wise?
I'm primarily on Twitch, the Purple app, but you can also find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads. I have a decent following there. But the easiest way to find me is just TransxBombshell.com.
So I usually put up with that TransxBombshell on social media. So and then my last one, and I love doing this one. What does nerd culture mean to you?
Ooh, that's a hard one because I have a lot of lack of clarity between nerd and geek culture.
Oh,
And so for me, it always kind of like I don't have a definitive line as to where nerd starts and where geek starts. But for me, nerd culture is anything where you are willing to suspend your sense of belief and embrace that with other people. So you have to be able to say, this isn't real, but I care about it. And if you're able to do that, welcome to nerddom.
I like that. Now I have a question about the difference between nerd and geek culture. Now, like now I'm like
that one I don't know. Don't ask me that one.
Okay, maybe a different time. You'll have to tell me about that one. I'm interested to know. But I appreciate fun. She gave a good answer. I love it. So I appreciate you being here, as always. And for everybody else too, you guys know where to catch me: Twitch, YouTube, because that's how you're finding this stuff. Like that's how you're watching this right now. So you also got Instagram. You can catch me on there every once in a great while. TikTok is where you'll find majority of my stuff. I just dropped a new video right now about people who are complaining about Star Wars Galactic Racer and we're not getting Battlefront 3. I love whiners. Oh, they're so much fun to pick on.
We're in a period of gaming where like we have whole digital worlds you can just explore freely. There is nothing to complain about.
No, there's not. You can find me over on Facebook, so Mark Zucky can find me too, and you can also find me over on Threads, which I don't actually know a whole lot of people.
We need to follow each other on Threads. I've got a little crease. I have popularity on Threads.
Oh, okay. We'll follow each other on Threads. Awesome. Well, once again, I appreciate you being here. I really do. And
really fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. And as always, for everybody else, I'm Taylor from Afro OG, and I will catch you all in the next one.